Well, hello, everybody. This is Brother Todd with you, Victory Minute. I hope you're having a good day. I know it's been a long time since we got to see each other in one of these minutes. I'd quit putting them out a little bit. Just really didn't know if it was scratching an itch, so to speak. And well, I found out even with the shorts and the reels and all the viewership of the services and all, and you guys are blowing them out. We really appreciate y'all catching around and forwarding and liking the actual services and the sermons we do, and really pushing those shorts and all. But it seems like from the feedback I'm getting that a lot of you were missing these minutes, and some of you said they were helping in different times and avenues of life. And on top of all that, my mama got on to me the other day, wanted to know where her Victory Minutes was at. So anyway, when Mimi wants something, Mimi gets what she wants. So I went back to making these, and I hope they'll be a help to you. In a lot of ways, it does allow me to quickly, as briefly as I can, say some things that I've been thinking about, wondering about, and maybe there's those same things that touch you in your life. I hadn't already said it. Sorry about the wind. It is, I've done made about 50 of these takes, and no matter what I do, I can't get around the wind or the sun or me messing up. So do the best we can with them. I've been preaching on Wednesday nights out of the book of Proverbs, which primarily is about wisdom, how you apply it, how you get it, things to think about. I love the Proverbs because they're short, and I can kind of get my mind around that thought and keep it in there. I got the worst case of adult ADD you ever saw in your life, even in my study and things like that. It's really hard for me to focus. The Lord has to really help me with it. And so I like the book of Proverbs. It helps me, and it bears good reading. If you've read it a few times, one of the first things you notice is that the Lord spends a lot of time trying to get us to see the value of wisdom, without telling us how to get it, really, or giving us examples. He spends a lot of time talking about the benefits of it. He talks about the repercussions that come when we don't live in it. Spends a lot of time talking about how valuable it is. He starts giving us things, some practical things to live in our life. He comes back to validating why we need wisdom. And it's really until you get to about chapter 10 that kind of stops. And you say, well, okay, but guys, that's heavy because God doesn't repeat himself a lot. God will say something and shut up. And when God is repeating himself about something, he's wanting us to get it. And I think it is a fundamental reality. It will make you scratch your head over how people can be so willing to live unfruitful, unfaithful, unfulfilling lives. In fact, I'll tell you, it is one of the greatest challenges is to pastoring, of dealing with as many people as I've dealt with for so long, of getting them to see reality, getting them to see truth applied, getting them to see that it's not everybody else that needs improving, but that it's actually them. And you get into especially in this twisted society we live in now, where our normal is so weird and the things we've embraced are so odd that people just don't see it. Jesus said, if your eye is dark, how great is that darkness? In other words, what he's saying is if the thing you think you see that is truth is actually a lie, then how great a lie is that? Because it's not just a lie, it has you deceived to the point that you think it's the truth. You think it's right. Societies crumble and fall, not in sin, because sin's been on the planet since the garden. But when a society takes what's right and calls it wrong, and what's wrong and calls it right, and boy, when that happens, you just see an unraveling, and those unravelings occur quickly, even though everybody thinks they got plenty of time. It's happening in our society. It's happening in our lives. This is so golly. Ever since we started the school there at the church, it's like, you first start off, you think the biggest problem we're going to have here is, the kids and that kind of thing. The kids, I mean, man, they learn, they grow, they embrace truth quickly. The problem is that so many of their parents and their grandparents just have no clue that the way they're living life is so far from anything God has for them, or it's not even fulfilling, it's not even realistic, and they're just stuck in it. I mean, they just will not see it. And I've asked myself so many times, what is that? And one of the things is this: when we don't pursue wisdom, we lose our capacity to wonder, to consider a thing. When kids are little, they consider everything. Everything's a learning experience. Everything they're going to, they don't, now they'll learn quick, right? They embrace quickly, but they're everything. They're wondering about it. They want to know about it. It's one of the things that happens like when we get old and we get to hanging out with our grandkids, is that a lot of times we pick up that sense of wonder. But most people spend most of their life, they come to a point where they're assimilated in, they've acquiesced to, they've been indoctrinated by. Now, we always call it educated and all of that. We always got our good words to explain a lot of times our bad situations. But we quit really seeking truth. We really quit looking for genuine evidence, right? And so it happens in science, it happens in math, it happens in the humanities, it happens in the spiritual world. We come to a place where we've arrived. Paul said, I don't speak as one who has attained. And so that means a constant search. One of the things I'm putting out this minute for you today, and this to whoever will get it, because I don't mean to sound mean or fatalistic, but the simple truth is there'll be a great many of y'all nod your head over the things I'm saying today, and you do the very same things. You are stuck right where you are. Stuck right where you are. Won't consider a thing to save your life. But you'll nod your head at me and go, all right, Todd's right. Boy, that's how the world is. I mean, I want you to take that inward look. And for those of you that can do it, I want you to say, are you wise enough to wonder? Wonder about the things you've normalized in life. We call a lot of weird things in America today normal. That ain't right. And just because something's normal doesn't mean it's right. Just because something's normal doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it's best. It doesn't mean it's satisfying. It just becomes normal. And especially where you come to the point where you're living outside of the spiritual absolutes and those kinds of things, it just starts leading to dysfunction. What I'm saying is most dysfunctional people don't recognize the dysfunction. It's normal. It's normal to holler and scream at each other. It's normal to get drunk every other night. It's normal to waste your money on dumb things. It's normal to change the whole way we've lived. I mean, America's underwent such a radical change in what's normal. I mean, think about it. Economically. Here, I'll give you an example. Economically, used to, people could live on one income, 2 or 3 kids, have a house, have couple of cars, a lot of, again, not 2 or 3 kids, you have 20 kids, it doesn't matter. But you have a house, have a couple of cars, you paid off your car, you drove it around for a good while, right? What happened? We started convincing people they're not living a fulfilled life by living a life that's God first, family first. We changed it to you first. And the way that you help others is to be the best you can be. And everybody got so busy chasing around their own desires. What happened? Well, we soon became selfish. We soon become prideful, right? We're never satisfied. We chase. We convinced half the ladies in the world that you don't matter if your family means more to you than your career. And what they do? The elites took and turned a whole segment of population into a taxpayer, into a debt payer. Right now, 2 incomes, can't afford the house. You got the house note forever. You can have a car loan forever. You young people are not going to understand this, but we never walked into a car dealership and said, what's the monthly payment? I can only pay $400 a month. That means that's normalized our society to the point that you think you're going to always have a car payment. You say, preacher, what does that mean? It means automobiles and trucks have went up at 5 and 6% the rate of inflation over the last 30 years. Why? Because they were able to change the way you and I buy things. And so we said, well, we're always going to have a car payment. All of a sudden you start going in, you're paying that interest all the time, right? And now what? A pickup truck's $85,000, $90,000. Who can pay that off in 5 years, right? So I'm pointing over there, my old truck's over there. It's a depreciating asset. Okay, every second it's older, it's worth less. Every mile it drives, it's worth less, right? And so we accept it, and it's become normal. That truck I drive over there is a 2007. You know what it ain't got? It ain't got a payment on it. So we go, Brother Todd, how you go to Mexico like you do? I try to go at least once a year, and I try to live like a king when I'm there. And I'll tell you one of the reasons is I don't have $1,000 a month truck payment. And it's cheaper to insure because it's old. But anyway, enough of that. But you see what I'm saying? Normal changes. But just because something's normal doesn't mean it's right. It's normal for people to live together now. Doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't build. It doesn't build anything in it. I wouldn't live with anybody would commit to me for the rest of my life. No way. No way. See, that's abnormal to me, but it's very normal in our society. One of the hardest things we have young adults get them to understand in the church is that, hey, baby, you're saved now. You live under a different standard. Well, it's what everybody does. Well, your daddy used to say everybody's going to jump off a cliff. Does that mean you're going to? Wise enough to wonder, to look at what's normal, to look at what you've embraced. What have you embraced that's hurtful? Just because something's embraced by a society, my God, people. I mean, a lost society, they do lost things. Alexander Pope years ago wrote a little poem, said vice, talking about wrong things, hurtful things, sinful things. He said, vice is a monster of such several means. In other words, of so many different means and manifold expressions. He said that to be hated, you just need to see it. To be hated just needs to be seen, but seen too often, familiar with its face. We first endure, then pity, and then embrace. And you say, well, okay, God, what does that mean? It means we look at something wrong long enough. At first, we endure it. It hurts us. We have to put up with it. Sometimes we're forced into a situation. But then we begin to pity it, and we begin to pity people caught in it. People get caught in sin, and we feel sorry for the sinner. God help them. But then to the point of we start embracing their sin because it's what we've pitied in them. You see this in all kind of agendas all throughout the world and in America today. What was considered absolutely perverted, distorted, twisted, I mean truly perverted, is now, it's the civil rights movement of this century in America. Nonsensical as it is. Why? Because it's endured, then it's pitied, and then it's embraced. And then so anything says anything outside of that, no, they're intolerant. They're mean. Why people think church is mean. I'll say something about the homosexual lifestyle is not a good lifestyle. It's not a biblical lifestyle. It's a sinful lifestyle. Just because you're drawn to it naturally, don't give me that. Now I'm just going to say it right here. I'll say it right to your face. You say, but it's how I am naturally. And I may have said it in one of these minutes. I'm going to tell you what, naturally, I'm violent. But it don't mean I need to express what my natural tendencies are when I don't like something. There's a lot of things that are natural to the fallen flesh. It don't mean they're right. It's natural to want to lay up with every other woman you see. Guys, that doesn't mean it's right. And you say, but everybody does it. Well, again, I'm just asking you, are you wise enough to look at what you've embraced? We have people all the time at school, and they want this and mad at this. Or I mean, I was a public school trustee for 14 years, so don't look at me like I'm living in some monastery somewhere. And it became normal in society for the school to have to do everything. Now you're mad because big government's taking over everything. Well, they've already convinced you that you're not smart enough to raise your own kids. That's what they're teaching them in the colleges anyway, and it's been embraced. And people are so lazy, you'll let the schools teach you what you ought to be teaching your kids at home. I'll give you an example. Years ago, they started putting out all these Bible translations, right? And don't get me wrong, we need good Bible translations. And, in my particular case would be English. And you need them, but most of them are put out to make some money. I mean, it's just reality. People say, well, they're too hard to read. Well, first graders used to read the King James Bible that reads on a, college freshman level. I ain't saying it's easy. I'm saying they did it. They did it because they read it at home. They did it because it was read to them. They didn't sit in front of a TV set or a cell phone playing games for them all day long, cartoons. It's just a reality. What I'm saying is, are you wise enough to examine what you've embraced, what you've normalized? 14 minutes long. My Lord, I better shut up. Anyway, sorry this minute's so long, but say it again one more time. Are you wise enough to wonder? And if so, catch us there on Wednesday nights. We're going through the book of Proverbs. I'll put this out. I don't know if it's going to come out. This is Wednesday. I don't know if it'll come out today or tomorrow, but we're about chapter 6. And then Sunday mornings, we're rolling towards Easter. So y'all be sure to be at church on Easter if you can, online or there. And again, I'll try to put out some more of these minutes coming along. Everybody's been asking me about my beard. Am I growing my beard back? And no, I've just been too lazy to shave. So I may be bearded or clean shaven next time you see me, but I'll try to see you. And I think I might be standing in fire ants. Move. See y'all later. Bye-bye.